What's up, Truth Seekers? Welcome back to another Mary Truth Talks. I am your host, Marianne, and this is the MTT Show. Before we begin, follow me on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Mary, M-A-R-Y _ truths with an S. That's M-A-R-Y _ truths with an S. And if you believe in wellness and you actually want to take care of yourself, and that means not just physically, but mentally, follow us on Instagram as well on our wellness platform. That's at MB Elevates, M for mind, B for body, and Elevate. We do have a wellness business that we are cultivating on Patreon. So join us on Patreon, subscribe to our Patreon, because you will be the first ones to know about what we are building, because it is huge, like our President Donald Trump says. So subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for subscribing and tuning in. And let's get on with the show, shall we? All right, so I always got to talk about immigration crackdown because, as you guys all know, and if you don't, well, now you do. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Cuba, and I came here very young. I am now a naturalized American citizen, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm always going to want to know what's going on the immigration level, especially now more than ever because of the immigration crackdown. Not because I'm against it. I've said already what I think about it. And if you don't know, well, go check out my Instagram. I have it pinned on the top for everybody who doesn't know how I feel. I make sure to let you know. So I want to talk about what just happened. It's breaking news. It happened today. Man shot and died by Border Patrol. They said it was ICE. It's actually Border Patrol. Illegal immigrant parents abandoned their 5-year-old child to escape ICE. That happened a couple days ago. Don Lemon and protesters storm a church. That happened about 4 days ago. So a lot of things have been happening. This is all Minnesota, by the way. FYI. All right. Minnesota fraud updates. This is huge. This new update about the fraud. A whistleblower is blowing the whistle. And Miami Beach mayor is exposing his anti-free speech mindset. So we'll talk about that since we live in Miami. And a little bit of international law for you. We're going to be talking about the World Economic Forum, what happened there, what Gavin Newsom did, my thoughts on that, and what's going on in Cuba and what Donald Trump had to say, President Donald Trump, better said, had to say about our country, Cuba. So let's begin. Man shot and died by Border Patrol. It's very unfortunate that this is happening in this country, but you know what? People, I don't know why. I do know why, but radicalism will make you do crazy things, including risk your own life for an ideology. All right, so there's a lot of videos. I think there's more new ones coming out on X. So that's what I was able to capture as the news was breaking in, or breaking out, better said. I'm ready. Slow motion. All right, so this is already like when it was happening. Bunch of Border Patrol agents grabs, like they were holding somebody down, it looked like, and then they shot him. That was like the first video that was coming out. It looked like they were just trying to detain him. He was refusing, and then he was shot like multiple times, or it sounded like it was multiple shots all at once. Let's watch the next one. There's like different angles to this. So I tried seeing this one multiple times to see, like, you know, anything. But that person's way too far away for you to know what the heck is going on. It looked like the person that they're trying to hold down had pushed this other person, from what it looks like. But again, you don't know what is going on in that video at all. It just looks like they're putting down some random dude, and then the dude gets shot. Like, you know, so just looking at that, it just looks like they just killed an innocent man, honestly.
Oh my God!
Alright, let's go watch the next one. Because as more unfolds, you start learning more about what actually happened.
Aisha, it definitely does feel organized to me, and I think you can tell these people are well connected. They are in communication with each other, and they are giving them instructions. This happened all so quickly. People knew where to go, and they are taking commands. This is an organized movement here. There's communication, there's food, there's notices, there's notifications. They got out here in a hurry, and they outnumber this police force probably by about 10 to 1 at this point.
I'm seeing if there's anything new coming up on X.
Let's go back to Garrett Tenney. Garrett, to you.
Oh, that's all of it? Okay, go to the next one. See if there's anything new coming up here while you're looking there. So they're saying that the same tactics they're doing right now is what was done with the whole rioting that happened in 2020. They're saying that they're doing that with the trash cans, that way they can burn the trash cans at night. But, you know, we won't know until it actually happens, if it happens. What's the next one?
Take a look at the chat.
Oh, I can't see.
You don't have it pulled up there?
No. Because my tablet tends to make noise when I go to a video.
Put it up on your phone.
Let me see. Let's see. We'll go to the next one while I do that. I don't know why this is not.
We aren't ICE. We are not ICE. We're not ICE.
So there's an independent journalist who is pretty much being targeted by these people
We're not ICE.
who we are assuming are part of this network. That this
they've
guy
been following us for over an
may
hour.
have been involved in.
We're
The
not
guy that was
ICE.
just killed. And Renee Good may have also been involved in this same
We're just letting them know,
organization.
and they.
Not in a nice vehicle, right?
No.
Right.
Right, get in your truck and get the fuck out. Why? Because you need to go. Confirmed ICE. Get the fuck out.
Confirmed ICE through who? We're American citizens. We're not
These
ICE.
are the people that you're abducting. Get out. Please go.
Because they've been following us for over an hour.
Why are you guys here? What are you here doing?
Where do you live?
Where are you
Yeah, look at how many questions they're asking. As if they're like police or something, yeah. Like comité.
You come in that car right there?
Yeah, this truck. And they're saying we're popping up in an
I'll tell you
ICE
what that
database.
Well, then you're in it. We're not.
What's the database?
Get the fuck out of here, though. Do we look like ice? No.
No ICE. Nothing on me. Prove it.
We're not ice.
I don't have no weapons. Let me see your IDs of where you live.
What the hell? Let
No,
me
they've
see
been
your
following us.
IDs.
That's why we got out and confronted them.
That's hilarious.
You
The
think that's
irony
okay?
of that. Let me see your IDs.
Okay.
God forbid ICE
I'm
asks
curious
them,
about-
let me see your IDs. See if they
I'm
respond
curious,
with
I guess,
such
how you get
obedience.
into an ICE database.
We're not ICE. Okay, thank you. So you're messing it up.
All right, we get it. So they were being asked about, you know, they were being questioned by these losers who are following them. All right, so let me see here. Flat FLA native 8130. What's up? Happy Saturday night. All right, cool. Oh, you're in South Florida? Sweet. Jose, what's up? Memphis conservative. All right. What's up, everybody? Let's get it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Yes. Hit that like button. Thank you so much for reminding me. Sorry, guys. I'm not very good at giving that heads up. But yes. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me see here. He had a gun on his hip. One officer disarmed him, and the rest of the officers didn't know at the time. They just saw him reaching his hand around his back for where the gun is in his hip. Was okay. Boom, shots fired. He was resisting while reaching for where his holster was. You guys are ahead of me, man. But okay, I'll continue reading. Oh no, the trash cans are going to stop the cops. Look how the cops take the protesters stuff. LOL. That's funny. All right, so let me see. What is the point in following ICE? Leave them alone and let them work. Yeah. I wish people had more of your thinking, Florida native, but they don't, unfortunately. Thank you guys so much for commenting. Yeah, I mean, you guys were ahead of the game there, but so far what we know is that this person is a nurse, and that he's also considered an observer, which is the same thing that Renee Good was considered, an observer, which is part of this network organization of professional protesters, I guess you can say. So there was a targeted ICE operation or Border Patrol operation. I think it was Border Patrol operations. And this guy got involved, and he had a gun, and the gun was loaded with multiple rounds. And he was not resisting a detainment. And because he had a gun, it looked like he was going to grab it, and they obviously fired, So this is, and you know what I think? I'm going to get a little conspiratorial on you, because why the hell not? I personally think that there are some people that have become so radicalized by this cultural Marxist perspective, who are unfortunately victims and now have allowed themselves to join these network organizations, that they are willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. And I think that perhaps this was already organized, because he brought a gun. This is a nurse, so he's not a dumb person. He brought a gun knowing what the consequences could be by bringing a weapon to a protest. If you are a peaceful protester, why are you armed? That's for one. Okay. And considering you have a gun on you, you should have told them, I have a gun on me. That way they can remove it off of him to avoid him getting shot in the first place. And that never happened. So as of right now, we don't know. So as of right now, we don't know if he ever said while he was being detained or tried to be detained, I have a gun, I am armed. That way they can remove it from him. We don't know if that happened. I doubt it did happen. So I personally think that perhaps there are certain people who are willing to be sacrificial lambs to this movement, because they believe, they are like, I don't know, they have a hero complex or something, and they think that by them doing this, it's going to perhaps, defund ICE, or it's going to, get people to be more on their side and not on the side of law and order. Maybe I'm reaching here, but at this point, I just don't see how somebody like this person, who looks like he had a regular job, why would you be doing this? And why would you be armed? And it's not like you don't know what the consequences would be because you are armed. So it's just, I have to always think perhaps there are people that are willing to end their life or hurt themselves or risk their life or risk other people's lives because they truly believe they're on the right side of history. You know, like, and it's, the irony is they're comparing ICE or Border Patrol agents or the federal government to, you know, Nazi and Hitler. But Nazi and Hitler truly believed that what they were doing was right for Germany and for Germans. These people truly believe what they're doing is right for Minnesota and for the country. So I think it's very ironic that they compare the federal government or immigration crackdown or enforcing federal laws to Nazism, when Nazis, if you go back in time, are literally, they truly believed that what they were doing was right for their people. What these protesters, or in this case, I wouldn't consider them protesters, I would consider them agitators, they truly believe what they're doing is right for America. Okay, so to me, the only people that are acting like Nazis are those on the side of the agitation. That's what I see, because it doesn't make sense to go into a scene when you're a nurse and get involved in something that has nothing to do with your career path. Like, you're not a lawyer, you're not, you don't own a nonprofit organization that has to do with like helping immigrants. You're a nurse. What are you doing in that scenario to begin with? And considering you're a nurse, you have to have some type of intelligence to become a nurse. So I would assume you would know what the consequences are by you getting in that scene, getting aggressive with law and order and having a gun and not letting them know, hey, I have a gun, you know? Because if you have a gun, okay, and the police stop you, you got to tell the police, hey, I have a gun. And you got to tell them where the gun is located. Okay, so I'm sorry. I personally believe if this person never said they had a gun while they were being detained, I think he wanted to get killed or badly injured. Okay, again, I have a right to assume that. You can think whatever the hell you want. You know, like, this is I'm here to seek truth here. I'm not here to speak truth. So we're all truth seekers here. Okay. So I personally believe these people have become so radicalized that they're willing to kill themselves for their movement, straight up. So let's keep moving here.
I'm told that we have a statement now from President Donald Trump, the first that we have heard from him today.
Pause that.
It says this.
I don't want them to read it. I'd rather you read it. You have a better voice.
This is the gunman's gun, loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What's that all about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off? It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her account? And where are the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state of Minnesota? We are there because of a massive monetary fraud with billions of dollars missing and illegal criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state through the Democrats' open border policy. We want the money back, and we want it back now. These fraudsters who stole the money are going to jail, where they belong. This is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for this theft.
So another conspiracy we can add is perhaps they're also doing this to deviate from the fraud. Because if you continue to have ICE agents having altercations like this with quote unquote protesters who are actually professional agitators, who could even be getting paid to pretty much end their life, for this movement, and this continues to happen, then we can definitely come to this very practical conclusion that they don't want the media to have to report on the fraud that they are uncovering, and they would have to report on the Border Patrol or ICE agents that end up shooting and killing Americans, like that, because that is easy for Democrats to use for the elections. Versus if there is constant limelight on fraud in a Democratic governed states, it is very easy for Republicans to use that in their favor for the elections. At the end of the day, this is politics, guys. Okay, politics is a very dirty game. It's very, very dirty. It is one of the most dirtiest games in America, well, just in human history, not American history. So we could also think that perhaps this is bigger than just a network organization. This could be a collaborative effort by the media and the Democrat elites or party, that they don't want people to continue focusing on the fraud that is happening in Democrat governed states, and they want you to focus on how protesters, quote unquote protesters, are being gunned down by law enforcers who happen to be federal law enforcers. So at the end of the day, we're not going to know anything as of right now. But as a truth seeker, I definitely have questions, because if this continues to happen, I mean, it's going to be really hard not to assume that these are all organized attacks to purposely create more tension on federal law enforcers. So, but we'll see, like there was one in Oregon, but they weren't American, they were actual illegals. There's the Renee Good one, now this one. So if this continues to become a pattern, like I said, I believe this is bigger than just a network alone. This could be the network organization that these people work for, colluding with the media and the Democrat Party. Okay. And maybe a lot of people will say, well, I think that's a far stretch. I don't think so. I don't think it's a far stretch, but I can't be so confident yet, because it's only been the third, technically the second incident of an American being killed that it's widely known. Okay, so now if it continues to become a pattern, then yes, I will definitely be confident to say that this is like this is organized, but we'll see. Let's continue on to the next one.
After ICE agents detained a 5-year-old boy in Minneapolis on Tuesday. We're told he's being held with his father, but this image of Liam Ramos and his Spider-Man backpack surrounded by ICE agents in front of his home has people asking a lot of questions. The family's lawyer and school say the boy was used by ICE as, quote, bait. But the Department of Homeland Security calls that a horrific smear. Nicole Skanga is in Minneapolis with more.
Thousands braved sub-freezing temperatures in the Twin Cities to protest ICE, with businesses declaring Blackout Friday.
Lord have mercy!
Dozens of clergy were arrested in demonstrations outside Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. And U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bavino defended ICE agents who detained this 5-year-old boy, Liam Ramos, and his father, an asylum seeker. They're being held together at a federal detention center in South Texas.
The child is in the least restrictive setting with a family member. I don't think it gets any better than that.
Agents picked up the boy moments after his father brought him home from preschool.
How old is that?
School board chair Mary Granlund was there.
And somebody else saw me and said to the agents, "School is here. The school is here. They can take him." And I said, "Yes, I'm here. I am here. I can help with that."
You offered to take him and you saw ICE agents drive away.
Yes.
It's 100% about politics.
Minnesota Attorney General
getting
Keith Ellison
arrested very
calls
soon,
Operation
mark my
Metro
words.
Surge a political tactic meant to punish Minnesotan leaders. He told us he's seen no evidence the FBI is investigating the fatal shooting of Renee Good.
You don't believe the federal government is investigating potential wrongdoing in the killing of Renee Good?
I have no evidence. In fact, I have evidence to the contrary that the federal government is investigating the death of Renee Good at all.
I think that's going to make a lot of people in this state and in this country angry.
The federal government can come back and say, we were wrong for jumping to a conclusion that Renee Good's death was not worth investigating.
We're just outside of...
And you were wrong for choosing to side with corruption instead of your Minnesota citizens. And they're going to finally put you behind bars where you belong, right next to Timmy Tim. And you guys can share tampons together. So let's go to the next one. Yeah, bro, there's unbelievable. All right.
We're being shared a lot about ICE detaining a 5-year-old Minnesotan boy as he was coming home from school, and it's time to debunk this narrative. I'm sick, and I'm sure you can tell, but we're going to keep going. The official Democrats page posted this. In Minneapolis, ICE arrested a 5-year-old coming home from preschool and tried to use him as human bait. His teacher described him as a, quote, bright young student, end quote. These monsters are sick, with a picture of a little boy. And of course, now that the story is being posted everywhere and people are literally running with the narrative that ICE is abducting children off the street, the Department of Homeland Security decided to clear this situation up. They write, ICE did not target a child. The child was abandoned. On January 20th, ICE conducted a targeted operation to arrest Adrian Alexander Corneo Arias, an illegal alien from Ecuador who was released into the U.S. by the Biden administration. They go on to say that as agents were approaching the driver, Arias, he fled on foot, abandoning his child. For the child's safety, one of the ICE officers remained with the child while the other officers apprehended Corneo Arias. They explain further that parents are asked if they want to be removed with their children, or ICE will place the child with a safe person that the parent designates, and that this has been consistent with past administrations' immigration enforcement. So now, instead of telling you the truth, the Democrats are posting that ICE arrested a 5-year-old coming home from preschool and that they tried to use him as human bait. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, is saying that masked agents are snatching preschoolers off the street and sending them to Texas detention centers. None of them are choosing to tell the truth, which is that this 5-year-old's father entered the country illegally, knew he was in this country illegally, and when he was confronted by ICE, he chose to abandon his 5-year-old. On top of that, ICE under the...
Okay. Not only did he choose to abandon the 5-year-old, they tried to asked the mother who was at the house to take him in, that they weren't trying to take her, and she refused to take in her own son. And that's why they had to take the 5-year-old. It's because the mother denied to take her own son into his house because she is probably also an illegal and was scared that she was going to get detained by ICE like the father of the son got detained. And then at the end, the father ended up telling ICE to bring the son with him, and now the son is with him together in Texas. So what bothers me about this is that why do people have to be so dishonest about what actually is going on? Like Cuomo really pisses me off because he is a leftist, and then once he got kicked out of CNN, he realized that he was too left. And then he wanted to pretend to be centered, so he got into News Nation. But he's still a leftist. Like, you're not centered at all. Because he continued this lie that the 5-year-old was detained. No, the 5-year-old was not detained. They were looking for the father. The father was the target. The father fled, abandoned the son. They tried to tell the mother to take in the son. Mother said no. What are they going to do? Leave the kid? Like an Amazon package in really cold weathers, hoping that the mother will open the door and take her son in? No, because then what is the media and the Democrats going to run on? Oh my God, ICE abandoned a child in the middle of like really dangerous winters. Like, you're damn if you do, damn if you don't, bro. So what do? What they're supposed to do at the end of the day. They go and they take the kid with them, the way the kid is not put in any danger considering how cold it is outside. And they take him until they finally can get the dad to agree that he will be with his son. Like, you guys complain about how, you know, you don't want ICE to separate families. They're not separating families. But yet you're still running on this BS narrative that, oh, they were using the kid as bait. No, they weren't. That's a lie. That is a lie. And I just don't understand, why do you continue to lie? Like, you do know that there's more than like one media source, right? Like, you are aware that there are many other media sources out there for people to find what actually is going on. So when people look into things, which I hope you do, as a truth seeker, I really hope you do your own due diligence and you don't just rely on people like me or other people to do it for you. It is your job as an American citizen to do your own due diligence, okay? If you are a truth seeker, then you need to go out there and actually seek truth individually, okay? This is an individual effort, not a collective effort. Especially because, you know, as a capitalist, I'm anti anything collective. So I just don't understand how they can assume that people are just going to believe this. The only people that believe this are those who want to believe this. Straight up. If you want to believe this, you're going to believe it. Doesn't matter. You can literally be told the truth in front of your face and you'll still believe otherwise. It does not matter. Okay? At this point, we're living in a reality where people are going to choose to live in a false reality. That's literally what's going on right now. We're all living in the same reality, but there are people that are choosing to put an imaginary VR headset on and they're living in VR world instead of the real world. And that's what's going on right now. And if they want to do that, that's their right. They can do it. But if you are watching this show, that means you genuinely want to seek truth. So please go and do your own research, because we need to stop believing in the propaganda. Like, that is propaganda at in the most basic form possible. And one of the biggest propagandists, who also was kicked out of CNN, is Don Lemon. And Don Lemon is going to get arrested very soon as well. We are going to see many arrests very soon. God willing, 2026, please bring us arrests. Because I feel like last year was more of like an investigation. You know, we're exposing things. This year, we need some actual like accountability for real talk. All right, let's go.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? Saw the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up, and it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd.
I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. So I can assume that you knew what they were doing before you went into that church, because you just said on camera, I can't tell you what they're doing, which means he knew what they were going to do. Just putting that out there. I'm ready.
Dante Wright and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, you can't tell you where they're going.
Got it. Okay. What's the next one? Okay, so this is what happened inside the church.
Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee Good. Renee
So she got arrested, that black woman over there, with a mic. All right. Let's keep going, because there's context here. Okay, so this is the actual pastor.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus, because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world, is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yes. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
So he told them to leave.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship.
Shows that they were trespassing. All right. Yep. All right. So this woman is. If you guys have never seen How to Get Away with Murder, you won't know like the analogy. But those who have seen it, if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. It's a good show. But those who have seen it, this is the Annalise Keating of our time. This woman right here, all she knows is law. She is a lawyer through and through. Like, that's what she lives and breathes. She was raised Republican her whole life. She is literally what conservatism actually is. If you don't know who she is, I highly recommend you look into her. She's always been a defense attorney, but now she's working for the government, this government in particular, and she's part of the civil rights movement of the government. All right, so let's see what she has to say.
When you go in front of a magistrate with these types of charges, it's not known to the people who are being charged in advance. That's the beginning of the process to get an arrest warrant. So we made a presentation to the magistrate judge. Two of my prosecutors worked tirelessly from Sunday night until presenting on Tuesday with the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Attorney General was right there on the scene as well. And the magistrate judge, who is married to someone who works for Attorney General Keith Ellison, who has had a lot to say about ICE and a lot to say about our FACE Act theory, declined to give us all that we were asking for. So that's just part of the process. There are many other steps in this process, and there are other ways to pursue charges. I personally think this magistrate judge abdicated his duty. He should have looked more carefully at the evidence. Unfortunately, a lot of these judicial officers, and he's an inferior judicial officer, he's not an Article III judge, are unfamiliar with the FACE Act's protection of houses of worship, because prior administrations have never pursued it. Yeah.
All right. Let's keep going. Okay, so this is, I believe, is it a, yeah, okay, it's a video.
Come into our house.
Yeah, it's in a
house, and they've interrupted our worship. This is a house of peace, and we try to proclaim that. And this stirs division and rancor. And in the end, it's not helpful. Ultimately, I believe they've lost. They've emptied a house of worship. Everybody's gone home. Their point has been proven worthless. And so, in the end, I think they lose. But more importantly, if I was to break into any of their houses uninvited, cause derision and upset according to their values, I would be kicked out ultimately. It's not a good way. I feel violated. I feel interrupted. I feel angry.
May I ask you something? When you were saying if you had showed up at their house, they're saying that people are showing up at houses where they're citizens or without due process and breaking and entering the house. One that we saw, I've been watching from New York, with a battering ram into someone's private property, and there's no recourse. There's no, you understand what I'm saying?
This is all part of a much larger dialogue, in my opinion. on one side are people who watched a previous administration bring 12 million people in over the course of 4 years, and many of them undocumented, many of them criminals, etc. This is enough.
Okay, so just for you guys to understand what's going on there, keep that on. So the magistrate, that guy in the middle in that picture with the golden orange tie, he denied to arrest Don Lemon. And there's a conflict of interest because he is married to that lady on the left who works for the Attorney General of Minnesota. So there's a lot of conflict of interest, and it smells like corruption, because first of all, why are you like, the fact that wasn't even allowed is already like unacceptable. Like, if you guys are married, one of you could only be working in the government and the other one has to go work for private enterprise. And the fact that you guys are married and you're both working in the government, and you denied the arrest of Don Lemon, who was participating in the violation of freedom of religion, yeah, that is even more like, just I don't even know what to call it. It's corruption. It's just shameful. It shows that Minnesota is truly a satanic state, and I'm gonna get to that very soon. Okay, so they're trying to, can you look up really quick on YouTube how Minnesota allowed the satanic church to pretty much like allow an altar in one of their government buildings like that. That is a thing, and that is actually in Minnesota, which explains why the Attorney General of Minnesota, the mayor, the governor, they all believe that this was not a violation of religion. They're using the I think it's called the FACE Act, but aside from all the laws that they can use to charge these people, on its face, they're pretty much saying you are allowed to go to a private property, because a church is private property. Even though it is a church and it welcomes everybody, it's still private property, okay? And they're pretty much saying you are allowed to go in there and protest your grievances if you believe that the pastor is a ICE director, which is what they claimed, and that's why they were there in the first place. But this is not verified information at all, okay? They're just claiming that because the pastor has the same name as an ICE director in Minnesota, that in the same city, that it has to be that guy. No verified information whatsoever, okay? So they go in there and they protest. They get people to stop worshiping. Kids are scared. People are leaving the church. And these people who are part of the government of Minnesota, they're saying this is perfectly acceptable. This is, part of the First Amendment right. But what you're saying is your freedom to protest or assembly is more valuable than the freedom to worship. And one does not overlap the other. One is not more important than the other. They are all equally important across the board. So by you saying, oh no, you can, being able to assembly is way more important than freedom of religion, you are automatically saying that you don't believe freedom of religion is really important at all if you're choosing one over the other. And it's a violation of the First Amendment right, period. Because the First Amendment right is press, assembly, speech, and freedom. And if you're saying that press and assembly are more important than religion, we have a problem. We have a huge problem. It is a violation of the First Amendment. Don should get arrested. The black woman and the other black woman that you couldn't see Both of them were arrested with this unhinged white dude who's super like pobrecito. I feel bad for him, generally, because he is so brainwashed that it's sad to watch, but it is what it is. People decide. You decide if you want to be brainwashed. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's your right.
I found something for the.
Okay, hold on. So they arrested 3 people, right? The main person, this other person, and the white dude. And then they released them a couple of days later or a day later. But of course, they're going to try to charge them again or arrest them again to keep them in jail. Because what they're saying is, essentially, if you are a leftist activist, you are above the law. That is what you're saying. And I promise you, they wouldn't have done this at a mosque. I really doubt they would have done that at a mosque. But they did it at a Christian church, which, again, tells me that there is a huge disdain of Christianity among leftists. And I believe the reason why is because they are worshiping Satan. Okay? And let's take a look at this video.
New tonight, a satanic holiday display at the state capitol has a lot of people talking. The group behind it says it's all about the First Amendment and bringing joy to the community.
But others say that it's downright offensive, and somebody even knocked it over and vandalized it. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni live in St. Paul tonight, and others also blaming Governor Walz for this display. Mike?
Yeah, but the governor actually has nothing to do with this, and his office says he doesn't support it. Inside the Minnesota State Capitol, just across the hall from the Christmas tree, you'll find this phoenix made out of paper. The elaborate display features a hanging pentagram and several small cranes. A group called Minnesota Satanists put it up, and not everyone's happy about it.
The message that they're sending is quite literally to hell with the sacred.
Republican State Representative Walter Hudson finds the whole thing offensive, especially during the holidays.
You have an intentionally profane display, very obviously intended to thumb a nose at those of us who are celebrating our holiest days.
But Hudson isn't alone. Republican Congressman Tom Emmer asked on social media, is there anything Tim Walz won't do to insult Minnesotans? But Governor Walz has nothing to do with it. Fox 9 obtained the application for the display from the Minnesota Department of Administration. That agency, not the governor, approved it. The governor's office sent us a statement saying he does not agree with the display and did not approve it, but the First Amendment means that he does not police speech in the state capitol.
If there isn't a standard by which to determine what is good and what is bad, then there's no point in us being there.
And Minnesota Satanists did not want to talk with us for this story. The group,
Did
though,
he
did
just say
send
that he doesn't, he respects religion? Is that what Tim Walz just said in that comment? That's interesting. Then if he respects religion, then why did he not denounce or say that what happened in this church was wrong? Isn't that weird? Can you find out, go on ChatGPT really quick and ask, did Tim Walz respond to that church incident with the protesters? Find out really quick if that happened. Because if he didn't say anything and he just kind of ignored it, that tells you everything. That tells you this man is I truly believe this man is a closeted Satanist. I mean, he went to China I don't know how many times. I mean, why are you going to China? He went more than 10 times to China. So that's our adversary, If you are a regular person and you want to go to China, yeah, go for it. Go to China. China has a lot of cool stuff. But if you're in government, It's going to be questionable why you're going to China so many times. Really quick, find out, what if he responded, because I want to know. There's another video. Let me see if I can find it here, because there's another video of I think Vinny from PBD posted it, that it was satanic worshipers praising Tim Walz, something along those lines. Let me see if I can find it here, because it is insane. Let me see here. Let me see. Maybe X has it. Satanic worshipers.
According to chat, it says here, Waltz's office stated that the governor does not support protesters interrupting a place of worship. His spokesperson emphasized that while people have the right to protest, he has repeatedly and unequivocally urged protesters to do so peacefully.
Okay, so he didn't say anything directly.
It was his spokesperson.
It was his spokesperson. Okay.
But his spokesperson notes that supposedly Waltz has been saying this. I don't know where.
I mean, if you are not actually going out there and giving your actual opinion on camera for people to know that, like, you don't agree with this, and you're allowing a third-party person to say it for you through, like, a message or something, it doesn't have any weight whatsoever. I mean, I can't find it right now, but maybe I'll find it next time. But there is a literal, it's like a plaque or something that...
Yeah, so there's nothing that states that he's spoken about this himself. Yeah. This is from his spokesperson.
Yeah, I figured.
That's been saying these things.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, dude.
According to chat.
Yeah, this man is not, he doesn't believe in Christianity at all. Like, if you are a true Christian, or even a Catholic, which is also a Christian, you would actually go out of your way and speak up and say, this is wrong. This is a violation of freedom of speech. I will not tolerate this in Minnesota. Like, I will work with...
I mean, yeah, and at this point...
What the hell?
The Memphis Conservative is right. Like, even if he does go on and says something, it's probably going to be a lie anyway. So he's lied all this time about everything else.
Yeah, but at least pretend, like the fact that you can't even pretend to care just says it all. Like, this man, I truly believe this man is a Satanist, like straight up Satanist. I mean, didn't he actually put tampons in boys' locker rooms? Like, wasn't like that an actual thing that he actually did?
I mean, that's why they call him Tampon Tim.
So I mean, you have to be satanic to think that that's even something you should be doing.
Kind of to touch back on the satanic thing you talked about. That statue was one of the things, but there's also a plaque from the Satanic Church.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's dedicated to Governor Tim Walz.
Yeah. Can you find that? That's what I'm trying to find here. The plaque. Because, I didn't have it here, but I had a feeling that was going to be brought up. And I should have found it beforehand, but I didn't. I did it. Yeah, while you're doing that, let me see what's coming up next. Okay, what's coming up next is going to be Minnesota Fraud Update. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button. Click that little bell, that way you know when I drop a video, a short, or when I go live. And click that thumbs up button to let the algorithm know that you like my videos. And it also helps our account show to other people. So very important. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the love. And let's see if we can find really quick this plaque here. This demon crap.
I found a really good one. A
good
quality one. Just give me a sec here to...
Okay, cool.
To open it up.
Yeah, man, this is crazy. Like, we have Satanists in our government.
Oh, man, this is crazy. Here it is. The Democratic Coalition of Satan Worshippers thanks Governor Tim Walz for not standing in the way of spreading Satanism in the state capitol building. Satan has a special place for you.
Yeah. Okay, that should say it all, guys. That should tell you everything. Don't go to Minnesota.
Yeah, for real. Can you imagine him in the White House? Oh my God.
It would have. I'm telling you, man.
Oh my God, we would be living in such a
We
different
dodged
reality
a
right now.
bullet.
We dodged a missile, bro.
A missile. Yeah, you're right.
A nuke, rather.
Yeah, a nuke. Definitely a nuke,
Oh
not a
my
missile.
gosh.
For sure.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, a satanic nuke.
Facts.
A satanic, very pro-trans, destroying children's lives nuke. So let's go to the Minnesota fraud update. This is crazy. This is literally one of the people that were caught in the fraud. I think she was involved in the Feeding Our Futures fraud. Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah, so we're going to skip the Nicki Minaj thing?
Oh, no. Yeah. Let's put that. I forgot I had that in there. Okay, yeah, this is funny. Don cock-sucking Lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that in any other religion. Lock him up. Heck yeah, Nikki. I'm totally with you, girl. Totally with you. 100%. He would never do that at a mosque. Ever. Never. So, yeah, 100%. People gave her shit for saying, the cock-sucking part. But, he is super gay. So, it's accurate. What's the next one? Oh, this is breaking news. Yeah, read that because I can't see that.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, it's just a picture.
Oh, it's a video.
Oh, it's a video?
It's a clip, actually.
Oh, okay.
Just in, U.S. Appeals Court finds probable cause to charge Don Lemon in the Minnesota church storming, but declined to order a lower court to sign the arrest warrant.
Okay. It says stay tuned, though, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what I read earlier.
Stay tuned, yep.
Okay, so this guy has to get arrested, bro. People need to learn that you can't say, "Oh, I'm just recording. I'm just a journalist." Like, no, you were involved in the operation. You knew beforehand. You decided to go in there. You decided to allow it to occur. You instigated it because you were broadcasting it. So, yeah, I'm sorry. You deserve to get arrested just like the rest of them. And I personally think Don Lemon will love being in jail. I think it would.
I'm sure he would.
I think it would suit him perfectly fine. I think he will purposely drop the
soap.
Purposely, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, let's go. Keep going. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Mm-hmm.
My dog is making noises. He wants attention. All right, I'm ready.
Alert also in Minnesota, the convicted ringleader of one of the state's biggest fraud schemes is speaking to Fox News from behind bars. Now, she believes that the scam was no surprise to local Democratic leaders, and she's naming names. She spoke to Alexis McAdams. Hi, Alexis.
Hey, Dana. Yeah, so everywhere you look in the state of Minnesota, right, there seems to be another fraud scam. So this one involves Amy Bach. She's a Minnesota woman convicted of fraud for taking taxpayer money that was meant to feed hungry kids. But listen to this. Bach tells me the real issue here is the state of Minnesota, which she says kept giving scammers your taxpayer money even after they were flagged as fraudsters.
I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware, but apparently I'm scary, so they couldn't do anything.
So Bach ran this nonprofit called Feeding Our Future. You might have heard of it. It was one of dozens convicted in this $250 million scam. You can see her mugshot there. Prosecutors say this group set up sham restaurants. They pretended they were making these meals. They got paid by the state for those meals, but they just pocketed the cash. Bach, who's looking at 30 years behind bars, tells me the state signed off on those businesses, not her.
It all went through a process. They were all approved. They were all paid by the state, yet all the fingers are being pointed at me.
And it's not just Bach. Whistleblowers told a congressional committee Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison there ignored warnings for years as millions of dollars and millions were stolen on their watch. Congress is investigating a long list of massive fraud schemes in the state. It's hard to keep up. Prosecutors say it's led to at least $9 billion in fraud, Dana, and counting. Congress also asking why the Attorney General there would meet with a group of Somali fraudsters, which were under FBI investigation in 2021. The group can be heard in an audio clip given to us by Bach's lawyer offering to donate to his campaign if he can help them get their funding flowing again. Ellison denies any wrongdoing here. He slammed Bach in a statement to Fox, calling her a liar and manipulator, adding now she's on a media tour to deflect her guilt onto others instead of finally taking responsibility for this fraud scheme that she ran. So we reached out to Governor Walz too, Dana. He didn't get back to us. House Republicans say it's just getting started. They want to subpoena Walz and Ellison because they say
they already
they're
subpoenaed
responsible
him
for ripping off American
All right,
taxpayers.
so let me clue you in on this tea. This is tremendo tea right here, guys. So, okay, so, oh my God, man, this is like incredible. All right, so I heard the 3 hour-ish of the hearing that Nick Shirley was a part of. So it was Nick Shirley, this police officer, this retired police officer that was investigating the fraud way back then. This woman whose son is autistic, and she started a business pretty much giving real services because her son needed it, and she's being affected by it because the Minnesota government shut down all funding for those programs, including the legitimate businesses that need the funding. And then there's this bureaucrat that was there, obviously by the Democrats. So we have 3 legitimate people that are pretty much saying, yeah, the Minnesota governor, the attorney general, and the Democrats who knew exactly what was going on and they didn't do anything about it. And then there was a bureaucrat that was like, no, we could do things, we can create some red tape. And it's like, yeah, but you guys should have done that a long time ago and you didn't do anything. They're considered watchdogs. That bureaucrat was a watchdog, but you're such a good watchdog that you allowed the fraud to just happen for years and years and years. Okay, so in that hearing, just to give you a nutshell, because I know you guys are not going to watch the whole 3 plus almost 4 hours of it, the Democrats the entire time were deflecting from the actual subject at hand, which was the fraud that was being uncovered by Nick Shirley, and that was also uncovered by this officer who was doing that were getting tips. So there was a team of retired officers that would literally get tips from people, whether they were business owners or residents of Minnesota, to look into these fraudulent daycares, adult daycares, right? But they were mainly focusing on the children daycares, and they were relying on tips to do their investigation. And it got to a point that because most of the investigation was being done towards Somalis, because that's where the fraud was happening, the government at the time, which was under Walz, told them that they had to start doing administrative work to deviate them from the actual investigation. And it got to the point that they couldn't even do their job anymore, so he just stopped doing it altogether. He gave up. So the government literally knew what was happening, and they didn't like the fact that it was Somalis that were the ones doing the fraud, and this team that was I think it was created by the Homeland Security Department of Minnesota. They were the ones who started the team. The Minnesota government was like, no, you're uncovering fraud that is that's targeting Somalis. That's racist. We're pretty much going to make it really hard for you to continue to do your job. So they ended up giving up, and they just shut the team down. So when Nick Shirley came on and he exposed it, the officer was like, that's what I was exposing while I was in this team, and they literally stopped me from doing my job. And then you have to question, well, why did they stop you? Why did they create so many barriers for you to do your job? Why were they trying to make you do administrative work instead of investigations? So the Democrats literally would talk about the Epstein files. They would talk about things they would talk about how in Biden's administration they were arresting people for the fraud. But again, they were deflecting from the actual subject at hand, which is the current government under Tim Walz and Attorney General Ellis. They allowed the fraud to happen. And I have a theory that the reason why they did that is because by them allowing the fraud to occur, the Somali fraudsters will give them a kickback for them to look the other way. This is typical corruption Very, very typical. This is the type of shit that happens in third world countries, not in a first world country. Listen, I understand that people commit fraud. I get it, okay? Cubans, unfortunately, have committed a lot of fraud, Medicaid fraud, insurance fraud. But a government knowing that fraud is happening on a massive scale, fraud that's literally stealing money to fund agencies for autism, dude. Like, come on, like, think about that. Like, how, again, back to Satanism. How satanic do you have to be to allow literal people to take taxpayer money in the name of, oh, I'm funding this business that's helping autistic kids, and that never happens. Or I'm feeding these children and families, and that never happens. This is literal satanic worship in government. Literally. Like, this government under Tim Walz is satanic. Like, there's no other way to put it but that. And I'm not even like a Christian, bro. But you have to call it out how you see it, you know? If it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck, okay? So I personally think this is, like I said last time, and I'm saying it again, this is Pandora's box. It has been opened, and they're going to go after these people. Because at the end of the day, you are allowing people to steal money from children that desperately need it. Okay? And not just you're allowing them to steal money, you're allowing foreigners who don't even want to assimilate into society to steal money on top of that. So this woman who got caught, as she should, is now blowing the whistle and saying, well, if I'm going down, all of you motherfuckers are going down with me. Because at the end of the day, y'all knew what I was doing. You signed off on it. You're not going to pretend like you didn't know what I was doing. You knew exactly what I was doing. So I think that's smart of her to do, because she's getting 30 years. She's probably going to try to get a deal with the federal government. And she's going to help them bring down Tim Walz and Ellis and everybody else who was involved, as she should. Because at the end of the day, they're part of the government. There's zero reasons why they should have even allowed this to occur, especially because they claim they were cracking down on fraud since the beginning of Tim Walz's administration. So, no. I am so glad that they're blowing the whistle on this. And like I said, this is Pandora's box. All right. Let's move on to Miami Beach mayor. So this is pretty crazy, just to clue you in on what's going on. So a couple days ago, I believe it was last week, Nick Fuentes came down to Miami, and he had never gone to a club before. And him, Myron, I believe his name is, the guy from Fresh and Fit, who's a complete asshole who I can't stand, who thinks he has a right to tell men how to be men when homeboy is not married or has kids. But for some reason, he thinks he has credibility to be speaking on how to be a man. It's him, it's Nick, it's two other assholes, and Andrew Tate. They're seen at this club, and they're like, whatever, you know, they're being dudes. Andrew Tate doesn't seem like he wants to really be there, but they're listening to the song, the Hitler song from Kanye West, okay? And the Miami Beach mayor is not very fond of that, because Miami Beach is predominantly Jewish, just like Hollywood is obviously Jewish as well, in case you don't know. So of course, you know, considering it's his city, he thinks it's unacceptable to be allowing music like this, but that's part of freedom of speech. But I guess he doesn't believe in that in Miami Beach. So let's take a look at this.
People laughing and celebrating Heil Hitler and Adolf Hitler. I cannot believe we're even seeing this and witnessing.
City leaders reacting to videos making the rounds on.
Oh, well.
Oh, man. All right, so let's take a look at that other one.
I think so. Is that your account?
I refuse to answer questions without my lawyer present.
Like I said, you're not going
This
to
is
jail.
freedom of speech. This is America, right?
And
I'm a veteran.
The woman who is being questioned is Raquel Pacheco, and she was questioned by Miami Beach police over a comment she made on the mayor's Facebook post. Pacheco is an outspoken critic of Miami Beach Mayor Stephen Minor, and First Amendment experts are calling this an overreach from law enforcement against
big time.
protected
It's
political
not an overreach,
speech.
it's violation.
I would think to refrain from posting things like that because that can get something.
I appreciate your concern.
It's problematic, it's immoral, and it's unconstitutional.
What is this? The EU? Like what? Great Britain? Like,
That's Miami Beach, bro.
bro, what the hell? That's like right here in the back door.
Yeah, that's Miami Beach.
No way, man. Get this guy out. Get this guy out.
He needs to get the hell out. For sure. I am sorry. Like, listen, I'm not on the Nick Fuentes train. A lot of my liberal friends are, obviously, because, you know, which is funny because people think that it's just like a far right thing, but it's not. It's a far right, and I think it's a just left thing that, you know, the Jews control the world, and, you know, the Jews are evil and whatever. And I don't think Jews are evil. I think anybody who believes in killing innocent people are evil. So that has nothing to do with your religion. You know, if you believe that people deserve to die because of what they believe, that makes you evil. Okay, so off rip, I don't care what your faith is. If you are a Muslim and you believe in, you know, our Constitution, we're cool. If you're Jewish and you believe in our Constitution, we're cool. Same thing goes for Catholics and Christians. I don't consider Satanism a religion, so, you know, I'm not cool with you. Now, I personally think that if you are a business and you happen to be a club and you allow that song to play, it's your business. So that shouldn't be a problem. That's not the mayor's business whether the club wants to put that song or not. It's not the business of the mayor to be sending people to people's houses if they don't like what the person has to say about them. Like, that's not your business. You are a mayor. You're supposed to be the mayor for everybody, including those who are not Jewish. Okay? So if the person does not believe in God at all, you're still their mayor. So the fact that these people, for some reason, think that, oh, you know, and even if he's Jewish, it doesn't matter. You're a mayor. You're not a mayor for the Jewish community. You're a mayor for the people who live in your city. That's how this works. And if you don't believe that, then you should not be the mayor of Miami Beach. It's that simple. Like, I don't understand where this is literally why people believe the Jews are taking over the world, because people like this, literally, like people like this that literally believe, oh, you should not be talking bad about Jewish people. Why not? Why not? There's a literal Jewish community that Tyler Oliveira exposed not too long ago in New York State who literally don't work and are literally leeching off the government. Like, and I'm here thinking, aren't all Jewish people like wealthy? I guess not. I guess there are some leeches out there. And it's like, I don't give a damn if they're Jewish. If you're a leech, you should be, well, defunded. There's no reason why we should be paying for you to not work. Like, you know, as a Jew, you should know how to, you know, manage your shekels, right? So there's no reason why you should be taking mine. So at this point, I'm not on the super, you know, pro-Israel train, because I don't give a damn about Israel. I'm not Israeli. I really don't care about the whole Palestine thing. I'm not Palestinian. When that happened, I was the first one on my Instagram account. I was the first one to say, if you have a problem, you can go over there and fight. And I had an acquaintance who is Jewish who called me up and said, "Oh, what do you mean? Like, how can you say that?" I go, "Bro, I'm not Jewish. I'm not Jewish. You may be Jewish, but you're living in America. So if this is a literal problem for you, you can go and fight in the IDF or whatever they're called. Like, you can go and fight." Because That's my mentality. If you have a problem with a country, go over there and fight for the damn country. Okay? But that's just like I don't like this like super extremist mentalities on either end. There has to be some type of balance here. Now let's talk about World Economic Forum. I love what this guy had to say, Lutnick.
World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. 100%. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries. Why would you do that? Why would the United States of America, which has oil and natural gas, try to convert to all electricity? China does not have oil and natural gas. Electricity and electric cars make perfect sense to them. That is practical and logical. So the point I want to make, and I want people to think about, is that America First is the job of our government to take care of our workers, to make sure their lives are better for it. And then don't be America alone, right? But be America First. And I would suggest that policy is something for other countries to deeply consider, to take care of their own, and then we will work out wonderful relationships between us. But I want to point out, when America shines, the world shines. Close your eyes and think of a world without America in it. It becomes pretty dark. Pretty darn
bleak
quickly.
as hell.
When America shines, right? And everyone said...
Yeah, what he said was beautiful. It was beautifully said. Good job, Lutnick. All right, let's go to the next one here. Newscom. This is like the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen, bro. Unbelievable.
I was going to speak last night. It was a well-established event at the USA House. Simple conversation, discussion. After Trump's speech, they made sure that I didn't. They made sure.
Thank God you didn't.
And that's what's happening in the United States of America. Freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. It's America in reverse.
Notice he didn't say freedom of religion.
They're censoring historical facts. They're rewriting history. They're censoring books, 4,000, 340
You mean
books,
porn
libraries,
for children?
And in schools, banned. In the United States of America, you're watching institutions. Any institution of independent thinking is under assault and attack by the Trump administration.
You mean propaganda?
You're seeing what's playing out in the streets of American cities, what played out in California, the second largest city in the United States of America.
There was a riot.
National Guard were federalized. 700 active duty Marines were not sent overseas. They were sent to my largest city
because they should be there. They should not be sent overseas.
Guy Greg Bovino, dressed up. It's as if he literally went on eBay and purchased SS garb. Greg Bovino, secret police, private army, masked men, people disappearing quite literally, no due process.
God,
Windows
this guy's such a liar, dude.
Seatbelts on.
It's incredible.
Literally, just sort of cut off, people dragged in the streets, kids separated from families, knocking on doors, racially profiling American citizens. So is it surprising the Trump administration didn't like my commentary and wanted to make sure that I was not allowed to speak? No, it's consistent with this administration and their authoritarian tendencies.
All right, that's it. Okay, thank God it ended. I was already getting pissed. All right, before we go to that next one here, let me just really quick add this little comment here. There is no reason why a governor of a state should be going to an international event for world leaders to talk shit of the president of the United States he is currently governing. Do you understand that? This is a governor who is literally governing one of the states in the union, and he went to a world leader event to slander and talk bad about the leader of the union he represents. Okay? That tells you this man does not care about the well-being of America. He only cares about his image and his reputation. He was there to show that, he is willing to go against Trump, even if it means to go against the actual interest of the country. He's there to make deals for Greenland and for America's best interest, and you're going there to literally slander him and talk bad about him. So what you're essentially doing is you are hindering his process to improve the international policies of America. That's what you're doing. You are a traitor to this country, and I pray to God they don't even try to elect this man for office. Because honestly, if they do, I truly believe there are people in this country that are so brain dead that they can't even think that they're literally electing somebody like Gavin Newsom who really does not give a shit about you or about me. All he cares about is himself. That's it. Look at California. He's done nothing for California. You can look up what he's done, and it's literally nothing. It's all all this his leadership of this, initiatives of this, but there's no real concrete evidence he's actually improved California long term. He's destroyed that country. That's why U-Haul has literally had to report that a bunch of U-Hauls are leaving California in droves because of how shitty he is as a leader. And here he goes to a fucking international event talking shit about our president. If that doesn't piss you off, you're part of the fucking problem. All right, I'm done. Let's move on to the next one. I had to just fucking release there.
Is not in America's backyard. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the president and his team are working behind the scenes to topple Cuba's communist regime by the end of the year.
Amen.
Sources say the administration is actively searching for Cuban government insiders willing to help cut a deal. The White House believes the moment is now. Cuba's economy is nearing collapse. You got food and fuel shortages, rolling blackouts, a government that appears
that's always happened.
Fragile as ever. This after
blackouts, fuel shortages, food shortages has always been a thing.
Nicolas Maduro. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to something I said earlier. I think the president's got a real taste for moves around the globe. Add Cuba to that list. Could be a very good thing for the world, Gary. But it is a big question mark in terms of how that plays out, how much of the president's attention it requires, and what does it mean for the American military, for example.
All right, moving on. Let's go to the last one. This is in Cuba. Look at that. Look how old those trucks are. Yo soy Fidel.
¡Viva las Fuerzas Armadas Revolucionarias del Ministerio del Interior! ¡Viva! ¡Viva la revolución! ¡Viva! ¡Viva el pueblo cubano! ¡Viva!
Increíble.
Apoyando a Venezuela. seguiremos venciendo. Y la muestra está que 32 patriotas de Cuba, héroes de la patria, dieron su vida. Y no nos rendimos, no se rindieron, ni nos rendiremos nunca.
I know, right? Incredible.
The delusion, bro. The delusion is insane. And the indoctrination.
Como todos los que estamos aquí. Y bueno, en la actualidad que estamos viviendo, lo difícil que estamos pasando con ese secuestro de Nicolás Maduro.
Things are difficult because of the kidnapping of Maduro. That's pretty much what he's saying.
Things were difficult already, bro.
Exactly. These people don't realize how bad they have it, apparently. That's all they know.
They're acting like it's Trump's fault why their country's shit. Well, our country's shit. That's where we come from. And it's always been shit.
Since we were born, it's been shit.
It's been constantly, like, over the years, just getting worse and worse.
Since our parents were born, it's been shit. And our parents are already in their 60s.
The Maduro thing was just a tipping point. Like you know, it's like that catalyst to finally get it to where it needs to be. It needs to collapse.
Yep.
And something new needs to come out of it.
Yep.
It doesn't work. It's
Listen
failed.
to what this woman has to say. This is incredible.
Por América y por el mundo, porque si permitimos que se repita lo que está sucediendo con Venezuela, vamos a regresar a la era de los nazis. El mundo se tiene que levantar. Y
regurgitated garbage that she's heard from wherever the hell she got that information for.
Okay.
It sounds like the leftist.
Yeah, it is. It's super
agenda.
leftist.
Like, I mean, that's what they would say.
I mean, that's what communist is. It's leftism.
Oh yeah, in disguise, 100%.
It's literally
and it's a really
leftism.
bad disguise too.
So she literally just said that if world leaders essentially continue to allow the American government to do this, like to just, you know, what they did to Maduro, to do it to Colombia or Mexico or Cuba, then essentially we're allowing Nazism to happen all over again. That's what she said. And it's sad because, you know, it's been 67 years that the Cuban people have been living this way. So they don't know literally what they're talking about. They don't know that they can live better. They truly don't know. The only ones who know are those who decided to risk their life and leave, you know? And considering how enormous Cuba is, Cuba's a ghost island right now. Like, the amount of people that have left Cuba is, I mean, imagine, it's been 67 years.
What is it now? I think only like 11 million people in Cuba.
I don't know the numbers. I mean, that's what, you know, we're relying on the government of Cuba to tell you the numbers.
Right.
It's probably less.
It could be less. It's literally a
less.
ghost. Well, no, I want to. Yeah, it's ghost.
It's essentially it's a ghost island. Yeah.
Island. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It is. And you know how big Cuba is?
Enormous.
For only 11 million people, and that's a maybe number?
Yeah,
to be there? That's how bad it is.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, when I went, you know, I'm gonna close it off with this story really quick. When I went to Cuba for the first and last time, I was 13 years old. I went to Cuba because my grandfather had cancer, and, you know, it was gonna be the last time I ever saw him again. So I went, and we live in Santa Fe, which is like a town next to the capital, which is La Habana. Okay. So we have a house, but there's no air conditioning. You know, some people do have it, those who are privileged and probably work for the government, but we don't have air conditioning. So we have to use like those big, what do you call that?
It's like industrial, like enormous industrial fans.
Yeah. So, you know, have AC. Some form of AC. You can't drink water from the tap because you end up in the hospital. You have to buy bottled water. That was back then when I was 13 years old.
Yeah, I went to, and the same thing happened to me. I drank that water without knowing.
Oh, you're crazy.
Oh, I mean, I didn't know. And yeah, stomach aches, you know, stomach virus pretty much.
Yeah, because it's not filtered at all. It's filled with God knows what. You know, those pipes have never been cleaned up or replaced ever since they made them. So, you know, you see everybody. I went to a market. This is what really blew me away. I went to a market, and they had nothing in the freezers. Zero. Like nothing.
The freezers didn't even work.
It had webs in it.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. The food that were on the shelves, it was all one brand of food. And you had to make a line, and you have to have a little book, and it told you what you can buy and how much to buy. Okay. So these people, that's all they know. They don't know anything else. So to them, this is normal. Them knowing that now a quote unquote leader of a country that they depend on for oil is now captured by America, who they believe is the imperialist country, right? And now they are going to struggle because they are already struggling. They're going to struggle now even more. They're blaming America instead of blaming their own government. Because at the end of the day, they're struggling because of their own government. They have to make lines. They have to literally pick and choose what to buy. They don't even have milk. They have to give children powdered milk because they don't actually have milk. Cuba is amazing for agriculture, and you cannot be a farmer in Cuba and grow your own food because the farms are owned by the government. Okay? So if you are caught like breeding or keeping any type of farm animal for yourself, you will get arrested for that because that is a property of the federal government of Cuba. So these people don't know what freedom is. It's 67 years of slavery and oppression. Okay? When people in this country talk about oppression, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because you've been living in a first world country your whole life. Even those who live in the hood don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Because you can still go to Walmart and you can still buy whatever the hell you want. You don't know what it is. You have zero clue what it is to actually be oppressed. So people like me, people like my fiance, people that are Venezuelans who actually know what that looks like, we don't get offended. It just pisses us off that specifically leftists want to say, oh, because we are oppressed, because the elites are oppressing us, because the Jews are oppressing us. No. Those who are oppressed are those who are living like that. That's real oppression. We in America are not oppressed. You can go right now and buy whatever the hell you want at any market you want. Those people cannot. That's real oppression. So I pray to God that Cuba is finally free. I really pray to God that in our lifetime, we'll be able to go back to our country. I really do. And because we are here because our country was destroyed by the same ideology that is trying to destroy this country. So all we can do is pray. But if Donald Trump frees Cuba, he's in my book, he's gonna go down as the greatest president in my lifetime. Straight up. A, because I'm Cuban, and B, because he's done so much already that, I mean, he deserves to be in Mount Rushmore. And this is only like the first year of his presidency. But like I said, if he frees Cuba, Donald Trump, you're going to be the greatest president in American history in my book. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribe, like, and share. Help us grow the channel. If you are a truth seeker, just like me, tap that little bell, that little thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. See you soon.